Hey, I'm Professor Chris, and I'm here to teach you some tips and tricks on how to manage your scheduling, your classes, even just to manage your time. For your management of time, do you have to rely on your friends, or maybe some internal urgency, or maybe being on the time crunch when you're procrastinating? Well, I may know a couple solutions to these problems that may prove useful. Alright, well, let's start on the big ideas first. How about time management? Now, there's a couple things that you can do to improve how you improve your time overall. First, I would recommend is make a schedule for yourself. It could be either a monthly, weekly, even a daily schedule, just to make sure that everything throughout the day is put in a nice bag, maybe on your phone using Google Calendars, which is what I like to personally use. You could use other apps on your phone, or maybe even just a notepad. Jot down things you gotta do throughout the day, take it with you, and you're set. Another thing I like to do, you can mentally tell yourself that it's okay to take breaks between tasks you do, or maybe you can make goals in your mind throughout the day, and at the end you can say, hey, I deserve this. I'm going to take maybe a 10-20 minute break, maybe look at my phone, check social media, play a video game, just something you enjoy doing while you're relaxing, and you can pick up work when you're done. And I think this will really make it so that you feel as if you can start on what you want to accomplish, and you can come out of it feeling happy that you did it, and when you're done with your break, you'll be happy to start again on maybe a new goal or task you have. Another thing you can do is maybe engage yourself in an activity that requires regular contribution. So maybe joining a club that you have to show up to regularly, or maybe something extracurricular like guitar lessons, maybe physical regimens, weekly workout, or hiking, going to a rock climbing gym, stuff like that. And if you're religious, maybe look up some religious practices that you can do that are very culturally important, that could be pretty fun to you. You can also do something very small every day, something that'll maybe get you ready to wake up in the morning or get ready to go to bed. This could include making your bed, making yourself a meal, cooking every day, possibly even having a warm glass of milk or tea before you go to bed. I would also recommend maybe reading a book or something for maybe 30 minutes to an hour every day. These things can really build a lot of structure and give you that sense of reliability subconsciously that'll carry you throughout the day and maybe change how you engage with how productive you're going to be. Alright, so now that we covered the broad time aspect of maybe scheduling, how about let's talk about the nitty-gritty. Scheduling for your classes. Scheduling for your classes can be really tricky, but there's some really important things you can do to make it a lot easier for you. So here's a couple things that I think are pretty good when it comes to scheduling. I would say maybe creating first a list of all the important information about your classes, and I mean each and every one, like maybe times, days, date of the start of the class, the date of the end of the class, the route you have to take, the distance, which also interferes with the route, as well as maybe something that's very unimportant to some people, but I think is something that's very valuable to know, is the distance relative to the other classes. Because if they're in a row, maybe you got one class here, next class maybe 2 hours later, you want to make sure you can plan your route from the classes themselves. Another thing I would say is what I like to personally do. I like to create a scheduling guide. So it's mostly just a guide about each class where you just put the room numbers, or maybe their building locations, or maybe important information that you may or may not forget about the class location and where the class is relative to the rest of the building. And lastly, for extra importance, I sometimes do this for special occasions. I like to make an alarm on my phone, maybe 30 minutes, or if you want, maybe an hour in advance, to let you know that your class is actually starting. It may not seem too practical, because if it's already burned into your mind when your class is starting, or if you can just check, all the better. But just in case for those times when you're really caught in the moment, you may need an alarm to let you know, hey, class is coming up in 30 minutes, get ready. Now, a lot of this may seem a bit overwhelming to you, and I can say it probably is. Having so many options to make sure how to manage your time or your classes, all these different things that you could or could not do, it's a lot to consider. But it doesn't always have to be that way. You can always seek help from other people, and sometimes it's not as bad as you may think. It's okay to be a little dumb, a little stupid. Everybody basically is. And when you are dumb, the best thing you can do is ask for help. This could be a friend, maybe you can call the school, and by school I mean maybe your academic advisor or registration services, and they could probably help you a lot with giving you information that you don't have. And you can't really progress too much if you don't have the information you need. I would also say, even ask maybe your parents. They went through the same thing as you probably, and probably even worse, because we didn't have all this stuff, all this technology back then, and they can probably teach you some good tricks that they developed that could help you a lot in your time management. I also have some resources down below that you can look through. It contains the registrar office homepage for ASU, and also contains some other maybe guides on how to properly manage your time. Maybe some things that could better be conveyed through someone else and not me. Maybe an official source will help you a bit better. But remember, you always got to make sure that you go into the mindset thinking, if you're struggling with something, it's better to go out and ask for help, maybe another opinion or different viewpoint, rather than being stuck going around in a circle not knowing what to do for hours on end. And man, I know how that feels. So I hope you take this advice to heart, and good luck ASU students. I hope you have a good time managing your time.